Okay, so yesterday we had the demo drop for Metaphor ReFantazio, which I had always been pronouncing wrong, and I spent most of the day playing it. It's a pretty great demo. It was really super long. I was not expecting it to be nearly as long as it was. It took me like almost 7 hours. I could have put 8 into it, but I kind of tried to rush to the end. It very abruptly ended, so expect that if you end up playing it. But anyway, this game is really wildly hyped. I've been really excited for it for quite a while. It's supposed to have some of the creators from some really major series and prior titles working on it. We had, I think, a writer from Neon Genesis Evangelion was in there, and have the old school SMT staff members in there and some Persona staff members and stuff. And I can't talk for everyone, but I was pretty excited to see this kind of thing, and I thought it was going to be pretty new, fresh spectacle, something I'd never played before. And I knew it was going to have its roots based around, Persona and some of the new things that they've done with the series and Vengeance and everything. I kind of figured there was going to be some ideas from it, but I don't know. I think while I really liked the demo and it seemed really solid, it kind of felt a lot more like Persona 5 than I was kind of hoping for. And it's not really the setting or the characters or anything. In fact, I actually kind of applaud for how great the characters were. They had a lot of really interesting designs, a large variety of cast members, and it's like all these different races and stuff in this world. It's kind of this old school, like, I saw someone describe it as 90s anime fantasy, and I think that really fits the bill really well. And the more I kept playing it, I kept making these weird kind of connections with stuff. I'm probably grasping at straws a little bit, but I did like to call it, by the time I was done playing, Berserk on Titan, because it felt like it was kind of a big mix between, like, it had some Attack on Titan elements and it had some weird Berserk vibes to it. Definitely a character that seemed to be a lot like Griffith, which was strange. Overall, it was pretty cool and it was exciting in a lot of ways. I really had to applaud, and people who watched my live stream also were pretty excited that there's just a lot of like kind of gore and felt a little bit more adult. I guess it's rated teen. Not really sure if that's super true, but that's what somebody said, and it kind of surprised me a little bit, but it's not like any gratuitous nudity or, swearing, stuff like that's kind of left out of it, but there's a lot of, like, brutal deaths and like some kind of Game of Thrones level espionage. So it wasn't really so much that it looked the same. I mean, the graphics are definitely changed. It's a little bit more open worldly feeling in ways, at least from what the demo had. So it's not like Persona 5 like that, but everything else just, I don't know, it just really felt like it borrowed from its roots of Persona 5. And, they have the press turn combat, which is mixed in, which is kind of a nice flavor to come in from SMT. But outside of that, it's really flashy. There's a lot of animations. They do kind of the same cuts. You finish the battle or you enter the battle, and you kind of get a splash screen of the protagonist, and when it's done, you get that freeze frame of the characters doing something cool. And the other thing, they had like some kind of musical nods that came off really strongly as Persona 5 as well. It just, I don't want to say it left a bad taste in my mouth, because it's not like that stuff's bad. I just, I think I'd like to see us move past Persona 5 at this point. I know it's been a really popular IP. It's been a giant meteoric rise and a giant cash cow for Atlas now, but I was really hoping that Metaphor would show something a little bit more unique than that, but you know, the story is way darker, and the characters aren't kids in school and stuff. The time management didn't seem like it was quite as pressing. They kind of rearrange how it would be in 5. But despite the changes just, they felt kind of small, and it felt like it was following that path. I don't want to like super deep dive and overanalyze all that, but it was something I did kind of want to express, and I think it's a feeling that some people have and some people maybe won't have. Some of the RPG groups and Shin Megami Tensei specific groups that I'm in online have a lot of people complaining. Some people are acting like it's just this utter failure. I don't know that that's necessarily true. Another thing I'm seeing a ton of people complain about is the graphics, and it's kind of interesting for me because I've been kind of making this stance lately where I think if they're going to make games like multi-platform, sometimes it's best to go for like a stylistic choice over doing something that's, you know, high fidelity graphics, then having to dumb it down to meet the lowest common system. And I think with Metaphor, they did go with that visual style choice. And myself, I think it looks great. It looks like what I would hope for, but there's just a bunch of people that just want to complain about it. They don't like the textures, and, you know, I think there was definitely some textures here and there that were kind of yuck, but overall I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't anything that bothered me too much, and I thought that the art style worked really well with everything. I'm not saying it's a AAA masterpiece level thing, but I mean, it's about as good as I would expect, or really about what I would want. And other people are complaining about performance a lot, which I can't say anything for the consoles, but I played on the PC. My PC ran it fantastic. I didn't have any issues at all. Again, I don't know if I'm the right person to really talk about that. I don't really feel like I have a super powerhouse of a computer, but I may have a little bit better of a computer than what most people have. I have a 5900X and a 4070 Super TI, or TI Super, and like 64 gigs of RAM. I installed it on the NVMe drive. So, I mean, it's just, I didn't have a single issue, but people are reporting it. Again, it's a demo though, it's really early build. And I think that there's no, you know, it's pretty likely they're gonna get that all patched out and fixed before release. It would really shock me if they didn't. Kind of overall though, the thing that really makes me wonder is who this game's really like audienced for. Because it's kind of, it's got the style of Persona 5, but the characters kind of seem to be a lot different. The bond system is what they replaced the social link system with, and that's not really exactly the same either from what we saw of it. The combat's definitely, it feels about right. I think for a Persona 5 fan to jump into it, they could get the tweaks well enough. It also has some stuff for SMT diehards to kind of grab into as well. A variety of difficulty modes were available, so you can play it all the way on like a story mode, which you're locked into if you decide to choose that, or you can play easy, normal, hard, and then the demo locked you out of it, but there's kind of a supreme difficulty mode you can pick as well. I think maybe more adult audience would be best for it, because I think that really the game is going to be kind of story heavy, or it feels very story heavy and kind of a little deep in its storytelling. I think a lot of people complained a little bit, saying that, you know, there's too much story, or it feels like a visual novel or whatnot, but I don't know. I think most adults are going to find it fine. It did seem a little bit slow, but we're looking at a prologue. It's the opening to it all. I don't really have a lot of complaints about the demo, but I do understand how people do have complaints, and I'm not taking that away from them. It's not going to get me to cancel my pre-orders, though. I'm really excited to see the depth of this story. I mean, in the prologue, while it is 7 hours, it seems like it just barely touches into kind of the bigger plan that's ahead for it. There's definitely some surprising moments. I wasn't completely floored and shocked. Some of it was readable to some degree, but it was a pretty cool demo. I have the entire playthrough up on the YouTube channel if you guys want to watch 6 hours and 40 minutes of sick me chugging my way through the game on normal mode. I'd really like to know your thoughts. It just seems to be really divisive from what I'm seeing online. You know, people are saying, oh, we unanimously love it, or oh, we unanimously hate it. And, you know, stuff always gets so polar. People like to pick a side, be on the left, be on the right, whatever. And I guess I'm just doing my normal fence sitting thing. Looks pretty good to me, and I think I'm really going to enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you like this content, hit the thumbs up. If you don't, hit the thumbs down, and subscribe to Otaku for more anime news, reviews, and gaming. And apparently me walking while I do reviews.